Hey, everybody, this is Harrison here from the Incubator, and I'm joined by one of our members. Now, I was looking forward to doing this call with this particular member because the outcome that he's gotten after about a little less than 2 months since the day he joined us inside the Incubator has been one of, I think it is our best result so far. And we saw it coming. We started early with him and saw that he was going to have this kind of traction, and I was waiting for the day when I got to record this conversation with him and introduce him to you all. So this is John Halkovich. John, welcome. John, why don't you tell the people that are watching what your business is, and then I want to see if you would tell us a little bit about what your life was like leading up to that fateful day when you decided to join us in the incubator. What were you thinking? How were you feeling leading up to joining us inside the incubator?
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Harrison. Yeah, so my business is it's B2B. I come from a background in procurement. I went to school for supply chain and procurement, and did 15 years in that industry. This is I'm still doing that with my 9 to 5. And I just kind of found Harrison's content online where he was saying, create a business out of what you do currently. And that's exactly what I did. So I kind of took my procurement skills where I'm helping my employer save money on contracts, go out to bid, negotiate savings on their third party spend, taking that B2B with small and medium sized companies who might not have that skill and expertise in their company, and doing that for them. So that's kind of how I got started, and what I've been doing over these last 2 months. So I mentioned, I still have a 9 to 5 employer. So, um, you know, I I've been doing this for about 15 years. Um, I've been doing the 9 to 5 thing, and it just wasn't. I couldn't see myself doing that for another 25, 30 years till,
Yeah.
you retire. Like, I think a lot of people in the incubator have that same thing. That's what brought them here. Same with me. I've been looking at doing my own thing for a number of years now. You always have those ideas. You see those get rich quick schemes, the drop shipping, all that stuff online. None of that ever resonated, but it always like piqued my interest. Like, how can I do something to free up my time, do something for myself, and have the freedom to be my own boss? And that's kind of what was the that pushed me over the edge to make the leap and join the incubator and take my skills and apply them for myself and be my own boss.
I love it, man, and you nailed it. There's so much garbage out there telling guys that with all these new, there basically are get rich quick schemes. They say
Yeah.
to be a drop shipper or join Amazon FBA or
Mhm.
go buy a Main Street business. That's my favorite. They're like, yeah, just go buy a HVAC company and just go do that. You'll be good.
Yeah.
You can do that. But our thesis in the incubator is we build real consulting or agency done for you agency businesses the old fashioned way with new technology. We're
Mhm.
using social media, using the new ways that we have to connect with people. And what they are, they're real businesses. They're using real skills that guys already have, and it's not smoke and mirrors. It's not crazy one in a million chance to ever succeed. It actually works, and John is a testament to that. And it's watching what you when we first talked, I knew I was like this one is especially good. I'm really excited to work on this one, and the results were almost immediate. So what were some of your? Let's talk about those first few days.
Mhm.
What were you? What was going through your mind as you started with us? What did you have like hesitations? Was it either on your side, like mentally, I've never done anything like this, or was there some worry about working with somebody that you met on social media? What was going through your brain?
Yeah, I mean, I did have reservations. You kind of mentioned the ones that stick out, but I just got to a point where I needed to do something, and using a skill that I had developed over, my 15-year career just made the most sense. So that's what kind of made me take the leap And, there's always that fear, like you're told, go to college, get a degree, get a job. It's the safest thing. And it just, I hit a point where it's like, how is that actually the safest thing? Like I'm uh, miserable with my job. Like it's a fine job. I mean, everyone you talk to is like, oh yeah, it pays the bills. Like, well, yeah, that only to a point. Like, there's other things besides money, like your family, your balance, work-life balance, like all of that just finally got to a point where it's like, okay, like I needed to make this move. And, it's something that you can do. I started out those first few days, we met, we put a plan together. And the thing that was great with this process is like you go out and you sell a vision of the company. Like I didn't really have a business plan. I didn't have any of that put together. You go out and you say, "Hey, I can help you do this," to your potential clients that we came up with, and you sell that, and then you get to work. So like the onboarding and the launching of this business was really, let's find the clients before we put pen to paper and create this business and invest all of this time. Let's go out and prove that there's an audience out there that's going to buy this, and then we'll get down to business.
Exactly. And that's the reason we do it that way. What John's talking about is we always preach validating the idea first, and specifically validating that you, the incubator member, can sell this service or this process, this program, whatever you're selling, to the person or to the business before we spend a bunch of time building a huge website and building out SOPs and building out processes and systems, because we want to be sure that those things are important, but we don't want to build them until we're sure that what we're selling is what people actually want to buy. And so
Yeah.
John was just a textbook example all the way through of how this is supposed to work. So with a big result that you got, it's been, like we said, 2 months, and you've gotten actually two clients since then, and
Mm.
over a contract worth over $100,000 for the term of the contract, which is incredible, and totally deserved. And you did everything right, and this is what happens. But walk us through what that process was like. How did you go from I'm here. I did my onboarding call with Harrison on day one of the incubator to where we are today, which is you've got these clients and this revenue.
Yeah. So, we set up that call, we set up a plan. We developed a targeted outreach list. And, I just started reaching out to local businesses, people within my network. And I got some responses. Some were, thanks, but no thanks. A lot of them do just kind of no response, whatever. But, you do get a couple. And the couple I did receive responses from were interested, and we crafted this reach out message, with me starting my own thing, like, hey, like let's see if this is a fit. Let me work on some contracts for you. Let me find you some savings. Nothing guaranteed. It's all free of charge up front. Like all the savings I get goes directly to your bottom line. I'm not going to charge you anything. I'm just looking to validate that I can do this as I'm trying to start my own business. So that was the hook that really got the first couple clients in there. So with this one that I just signed the contract with, um, I did that for about 3 to 4 weeks. Uh, I was working on some contracts with him, got them signed. Kept keeping him up to date, really showed him that I was worth uh him bringing me on and signing this deal with him to actually pay me, doing these first couple for free. And he saw that, hey, the work that I was doing for him was definitely worth it. And then, through that and through my conversations with him, just we came to an agreement. Hey, like let's formalize this. You've done some great work on those first couple. Like I want you to come around. We have probably 130 to 140 more contracts to work on. Um, So through that, we came up with an agreement. I have like a retainer base on a monthly basis. And then on those 130 contracts that I'll be negotiating for him, we have like an incentive structure per contract fee that would be paid to me for each one I close. So that's kind of how we worked it out. And it was just showing him like, hey, I came in there and I showed him what my value was, and he liked it. And next thing you know, I got an agreement and a contract with him to come on and do this paid, and we locked in the deal.
Yeah. What John's talking about for anybody's watching is the concept that we use in the incubator that I believe in wholeheartedly called a service-based lead magnet. And especially if you're selling a service business B2B, what you offer to do is just do a little bit of work for them that's valuable to them for no charge. And you never tell them that you're going to do it forever. You never say, I'm just a free guy that you can take advantage of. You say, I'm going to do this to show you that I know what I'm doing. And hopefully, if you like it, we can come to an agreement on how I can continue to provide you this value going forward. And that's exactly what John did. And this is what I preach. A lot of guys come in and they say, well, I'll never work for free. I don't ever want to do anything for free. And to people who say that, I say, you're going to have a really hard time. And just know that every single client that you get for your business, the types of businesses we build, there's going to be a cost associated with acquiring that client. Always. Always. You're either going to have to pay money or you're going to have to pay time. And in the beginning, when your business is new, you don't necessarily have money to spend on advertising or whatever else you would spend it to acquire a client. And so you're going to need to spend a little bit of time. But as we've seen with John and as we've seen over and over again with other guys in the incubator, it's well worth it.
Yeah.
So John, I wanted to highlight an objection that people sometimes have with the model that we preach in the incubator, which is take this skill that you're already getting paid for and apply it to other businesses where you're the owner of your business and they'll pay you for that skill as well. What do you say to people who, because you kind of mentioned like, I don't like, or I was feeling unfulfilled
Hmm.
um, at my 9 to 5. So what do you say to people who are like, well, why would I go do the thing that I feel unfulfilled at my 9 to 5? Why would I go do that as a business for myself?
Yeah. I mean, I had the same thought process getting in this. It's like, why would I do the same thing that I'm not enjoying right now? And the answer really is just doing it for yourself and having no one tell you, hey, you know, go create this PowerPoint for no good reason
Mm.
to go show to a client that's just going to get thrown in the trash and was for no reason. Like being your own boss and doing the things that are valuable to you is just worth. I would do anything. I would collect trash if
Yep.
it paid me and I was the person in charge of doing it. Like that to me is way worth more than anything. And it's just been incredible these last, month and a half, 2 months, um, putting in that work and doing it. Like I'm eager to do it. Like I want to um, continue the outreach, continue the work for the clients that I've brought on board already, and continue to grow this thing. So that's what I would say to them. It's being your own boss is just there's nothing like it.
There's nothing like it. And I think that's exactly right. Like, I think a lot of people don't like is the fact that, like, they say, I don't like my job. And so then they think, well, my job, the activities I perform at my job are the problem. But if they really examine it, that's not actually the problem. The
Hmm.
problem is they feel underappreciated or they feel like somebody's bossing them around, especially if you're like me, like you have a boss who you think's dumber than you, it's game over. There's no way that I'm ever going to be
Yeah.
able to sustain working for somebody who I don't think is very smart. And that's what a lot of guys are in, and I think that's the actual root cause, like the real problem that people are facing. And then but when you're on your own, I don't feel like I'm ever working. I don't feel like
Yeah.
I'm ever working. And I'm not sitting here and saying that it's never hard or it's never stressful. Of course it's hard and of course it's stressful to be an entrepreneur. That's the cost. That's what you have to pay for this freedom and for this autonomy. But I never once for a single second do I think, "Oh, I don't want to work today." I want to
Yeah.
work more than I need, more than I should. Like I have to dial it back because it's so fulfilling and so much fun and so freeing. And yeah, there's hard parts and there's ups and downs and there's all the stress is on you. The weight is on your shoulders and there's nobody to pass the buck to. But I think John, I don't want to put words in your mouth. That's what I love. I
Yeah.
love that feeling of autonomy and responsibility.
Yeah. No, 100%.
The other thing I would say to people who are struggling with that is like say you really can't stand the activities that you perform at your job day to day. Like I was talking to a guy who is in IT and he's like, "Well, I'm so sick of IT. Like I can't imagine being an IT consultant because I really don't like IT." I would still tell people like that this is the right way to get into entrepreneurship because it's the easiest way to get revenue quickly. It's not nothing's easy in entrepreneurship, but out of everything that I've tried and everything that I've seen, this one is the fastest and the easiest relative to everything else. And what you're learning in a program like ours in the incubator is you're gaining skills around sales, around marketing, around delivery that you can then go transfer those skills to something else.
Yeah.
You can like John, if you did decide in 6 months, like, you know what, I actually don't like procurement, well, then you would have a whole roster of skills that you could then apply to go start whatever kind of business that you wanted, and you'd learned it on something that was giving you positive feedback and keeping the and paying the bills with something that you already knew.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people you're talking to probably have like the same feelings that I had, where there's just like being in a 9 to 5, like there's always this thought in the back of your head, like, even if you're a good employee, like it, they could just axe you one day because you're expensive. Like, I work in an industry where a lot of jobs get shipped overseas, and there's always that looming threat. And just in these 2 months, like that burden has just like lifted off my shoulders, because it's just like I don't need that anymore. Like like if they were like, yeah, goodbye, I'm like, great. Now I'm 100% like into this. Like I have this base set up and use those skills to do whatever. It's continue to grow this procurement business I have, transfer those sales skills, those marketing skills into something else. There's so many avenues you can take with the skills that you're teaching here.
Yeah, that's how I think about it. Is just totally anti-fragile.
Hmm.
Like if my social media accounts went away tomorrow, if the incubator shut down tomorrow, like I still know how to build products and sell them, to build
Yeah.
services and sell them, and no one will ever take that away. And that's what I think is the most beneficial thing about the incubator is that it gives guys the tools they need to never have to depend on somebody else.
Hmm.
And that's the like you said, it's a weight off your shoulder. I sleep like a baby. I took before, but I used to need like I had terrible insomnia leading up to now maybe the insomnia is healed because we have kids and I don't sleep anymore. But before kids, before I started my business, like I could never sleep. I was always worrying or stressed about my job or whatever. I sleep like a baby now because I know that well, I'm tired, but
Yeah.
but I put in a good day's work. I've put in a great day's work. I feel good about that, and I don't have any of the worries that I had before of like you were saying, like what if they just decide I'm too expensive and they go outsource me?
Hmm.
That I don't ever worry about that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's talk
Exactly.
about time in the day, John, because that's another thing people worry about. How long would you say to get the results you've gotten, which is this six-figure deal in less than 2 months? What's a realistic time on the clock that guys would need to spend to do something like you did?
Yeah. So, as I mentioned before, I kind of started this while at my 9 to 5. So I put in, an hour or two a day. I work remote, so I'm able to squeeze it in between meetings and stuff during the day. You know, After my wife goes to bed or whatever, I might squeeze in a little more. But yeah, it was really like an hour or two a day. And again, back to what we just talked about, doing it for yourself, like it's not like it was a burden. It was something that I wanted to do because I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Like there's something here, there's an opportunity. So 1 to 2 hours to start, just and it the biggest thing for me was just making sure I was consistent about it. And the incubator helps out with that because you have a team in there, yourself and some other guys that are in there checking in on you. We have the daily calls, and it's just kind of a way to make sure you're accountable and you're putting in that time. But all things considered, 1 to 2 hours to take that leap, I didn't think it was crazy at all, and it's been well worth it.
Yeah. Amen, man. That's the other thing people think. Well, certainly it takes 4, 6 hours a day. Like we're talking about, we're talking about sending we're talking about having a few conversations, especially at the
Hmm.
beginning. And
Yeah.
it's just really not, and even once you get your first couple of clients, like the whole idea is that it's fractionalized. The whole idea is that it's not a full-time thing or even approaching that.
Hmm.
I'm so freaking stoked for you, man. I'm so proud of you. This is a textbook example of how the incubator is supposed to work. So we'll let you leave on this, man. What's next? What's the vision? Where do you want to take this thing in the next 12 months?
Yeah. So for me, it's really knocked this first one out of the park because it's been such a slam dunk opportunity, and take that and leverage that into a website, social media to really to grow this thing. Those are my next steps here is to really leverage this first opportunity that's been so great into building something that is sustainable, leave the 9 to 5 completely, um, and be my complete own boss, autonomous, be able to do my own thing, support my family, have that family time, and that's the goal.
Beautiful, man. Well, it's right there for you. You got it. Thank you,
Yeah.
John. Thank you, John, for the time. If anybody is watching this and you're not in our school community, that's you can get a bunch of my materials and my trainings and stuff for free. That's the link to that is in the description. And once you're inside there, we'll DM you and we can tell you about the incubator and let you know if if that's something you want to explore, or you can just enjoy all the free content in there. But thank you, John. I'm really grateful to know you, man, and I'm grateful you're along on this ride with us.
Yeah. Thanks, Harrison. Good talking to you.
Bye.